Do you love the enchanting whimsy of Disney movies? And the cute fantasy films of Studio Ghibli? Well, let me introduce you to my fantastic friend SORA Star. She's an incredibly talented and gifted Scottish artist who specialises in unique Disney fan art and renditions of folklore creatures. If what you're seeing on screen right now is to your fancy, then please consider following her on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. You can also purchase prints of her art or custom commissions from her coffee shop. Whatever you order from her coffee will be packaged with love and care. Plus, everything is shipped for free worldwide. It's very important for us to support brilliant independent artists like SORA. Thank you, folks. Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here, and welcome to another episode of Jambareeqi Orange, the show where my patrons decide what I review. The options for this episode's poll included Dracula, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: Once and Always, The Evil Dead, Ponyo, and Hilda and the Mountain King. They chose Puss in Boots too. Puss in Boots is known far and wide as a fearless hero, but when he finds out that he only has 1 out of his 9 lives left and starts getting stalked by Death himself, he decides to retire his persona. He then spends his retirement living a mundane life in a cat lady's home, where he befriends Burrito the chatty therapy dog. Suddenly, Goldilocks and the 3 bears randomly turn up, demanding for Puss's help. While hiding from the family, Puss overhears that Goldie is after the legendary wishing star, which could grant him the extra 8 lives that he wants, and the evil Jack Horner has the map to its whereabouts. Puss attempts to steal the map from Jack, but ends up fighting over it with his old flame kitty Softpaws. The 2 cats escape with the map, and reluctantly team up to find the star together, with Burrito tagging along as extra help. One thing that I find remarkable about this film is how it plays around with the point A to point B formula of animated adventure films. Sure, we're going from the dark forest to the wishing star, a simple premise on paper, but the map is the tricky twist. You see, the map's obstacles are all dictated by whoever holds it, with each hurdle being a reflection of said character. So, not only does the map's magic give us some insight into our hero's psyches, but it also makes for a very, very unpredictable journey, because the map's user can change the entire dimension's layout in a microsecond, and suddenly all the obstacles ahead have been warped into something drastically different. However, the aspect that really steals this movie's spotlight has to be the villains in our hero's way, a variety of rivals for Puss's team who add further conflict and tension to their star quest. Turning the film into sort of a fairy tale twist on the madcap race comedy genre, what makes these baddies so appealing is that they're all a different flavour of antagonist. Jack Horner is a 100% irredeemable monster with no reluctance when it comes to harming others, whether he's sacrificing his own minions like it's nothing, or threatening to shoot a poor puppy in the face. At a time when animated films have become obsessed with giving their villains sob stories, even if they don't deserve a redemption or audience sympathy, Jack Horner's creation reclaimed the idea that a villain doesn't need to be redeemable to be well written. Sometimes, heck most of the time, bad people are just bad people, and it doesn't need to be more complicated than that.
You promised us our weight in gold.
I did, didn't I? Ever hear of the Midas touch?
Aw, cool dibs! Oh no.
It also helps that Jack is simply fun as hell, scene-stealing, and wonderfully campy, with a truly great character design made up of wacky pink hair, an ugly expressive face, fabulous fashion sense, and an intimidating giant stature. Keep in mind too, Jack has a huge collection of magical weapons, which he uses to his advantage in the race to the star. A lot of the fun of his character comes from the unpredictable nature of his bottomless bag of enchanted items.
Hey, Softpaws! How do you like cheese apples? Die! Grow up already!
Soft paws.
Throwing in Jiminy Cricket as his short-lived conscience was a stroke of genius too, because Jiminy's reactions mirror the audience's feelings and challenge the notion that every bad person has the potential to self-reflect and change.
You're horrible! You're an irredeemable monster!
Oh, what took you so long, idiot?
Then we have Goldilocks, who represents sympathetic villains, antagonists that we can feel for despite their intention of foiling our heroes. Her kinship with her adoptive bear parents and bear brother is genuinely adorable. Even though they're criminals, they're very much your typical family through and through.
You can taste that wish now, and you know what it tastes like.
Pies?
Pies! Who ate all the pies? Who ate all the pies? We ate all the pies!
Oh, it's gonna be wicked!
Yeah!
We later learn that Goldie feels very self-conscious for not having a traditional family and wants to use the star to wish for a human one.
Oh, that was your favourite book. You used to stare at it for hours.
It's a wonderful lesson on how adoptive parents are just as valid as biological ones, and when Goldie realises this, she actually teams up with our heroes with the mutual goal of stopping pure evil from claiming the star. My favourite thing about this ragtag gang though is how thoroughly British they are. As a Brit myself, I really appreciated all the brilliantly authentic touches to their unapologetic Englishness. I especially love how varied their British slang is.
I can nick a map as good as any old cat.
You've got a plan.
What? I'm smart, ain't I? Ain't I, Papa?
No, you ain't well fixed for brains.
DreamWorks didn't just make them say governor and bloody a lot then call it a day. No. They gave these characters a wide vocabulary of thick English slang words, without any fears over whether Americans would understand our quirky lingo.
Oi, you've just been crimed by the Three Bears crime family.
So long, you plunkers!
I don't know if this was all down to research on DreamWorks' part, or cultural feedback from the British voice actors themselves, but it's fantastic nonetheless.
Hey, I'm gonna bust you up, Plum Thumb, and then I'm gonna wear your clothes.
That was weird.
Lastly, we have Death, a truly sinister and creepy wolf who is basically the end of life itself. This villain has zero interest in any wishing star. He's a neutral force who simply takes pleasure from tormenting Puss and sensing his fear.
I just love the smell of fear.
He's not just a badass and unique twist on the Grim Reaper folklore, who has mastered a pair of scythes for weapons. He also serves as a powerful thematic part of the film, because his recurring presence is a vivid reflection of Puss's growing anxiety over death. A highly intimidating figure who looms over Puss like a fairy tale boogeyman. What's interesting is that his MO isn't really about killing Puss, and more about scaring the jeepers out of this arrogant cat who claims to be immortal. It's why he's happy to hand Puss his sword. He wants to savor Puss's fear and panic. When Puss finally reaches full circle in his character development,
I know I can never defeat you, Lobo, but I will never stop fighting for this life.
Death decides to bow out of the fight, not because he feels like he's lost, but because there's no entertainment in harassing him now. His thanatophobia has been conquered.
You're ruining this for me. I came here for an arrogant little legend who thought he was immortal. But I don't see him anymore.
Now, while our heroes are bending over backwards to adapt to map changes and dealing with formidable competition, or the Reaper himself, they're also developing a closer bond as a team. Of course, things start off rocky, because Puss is a narcissist, Kitty has trust issues, and Perito is suspiciously over-friendly. But there's clearly something here, and the tension gradually blossoms into a beautiful friendship that serves as the film's gooey heart.
Hands in, crew. Ready? Go, Team Friendship!
Team, friendship, I did not agree to this.
Yeah, do better. Try harder.
No, just a placeholder name, you know? I'll workshop it, okay? Go get him, Tiger.
Hey, take it easy.
We also see Puss and Kitty, former lovers who almost wed, rekindle their fiery passions in their sequel. These two have always had a sizzling chemistry, and it's fun to see them both repairing things. Heck, it's the romance between the two that motivates Puss to grow and change, with Kitty's charm, wit and compassion making the ginger tabby fall for his ex-fiancée all over again, giving him a reason to be a better man.
What do you mean you didn't show up?
Well, I knew I could never compete with your one true love.
Who?
Yourself! The legend. I wasn't gonna show up for that guy. But you don't seem like that guy anymore.
However, if I was to boil down what the film is mainly about, I'd say anxiety and mental health care. Puss has become so invested in the mythos of his public persona that he's lost interest in anything else. To him, keeping up his celebrity legend comes before everything. While this has led to adoring fans cheering him on, the serotonin is always fleeting, and he's back to being a lonely outlaw once the curtains close. He might be conceited enough to believe that he's impervious to fear, but once death enters the picture, reality hits him like a ton of bricks, and he has to process that he's just as vulnerable as everyone else, which drives him into experiencing a frighteningly realistic panic attack.
Puss, what's wrong?
This is where Perito becomes the unsung hero of the film, a bubbly and loving doggo whose former owner tried to drown him in a rock-filled sock. now wearing the very same sock as his clothes, like he's grown into the trauma he's faced, letting it be part of him, but still remaining optimistic for life. Despite the horrors that the world threw at him, he's eager to be a therapy dog to help others, and Puss ends up becoming his first patient. There's something astoundingly moving about DreamWorks taking a fan-favourite character and using him to teach families about the value of therapy. I find that so inspiring.
I am afraid.
Well, it's okay to be afraid.
No, not for Puss in Boots. I'm supposed to be a fearless hero, a legend. But without lives to spare, I am nothing.
A role model can be more than just a kick-ass sword fighter. He can also be at peace with his trauma, learn to express his emotions, and develop sympathy for those around him. Showing your feelings and admitting that you need to change your bad habits doesn't make you weak, but rather humble and healthy. Letting your action movie's heroes show their vulnerability makes him more relatable to audiences, because we too as humans face these same insecurities. Another selling point for this movie has to be the stellar animation. It's colourful, dynamic, and consistently creative. Some people might find it to be too garish, but I think it earns its bright and bouncy look because it fits the wild and bonkers premise of the film. Oh, and whenever we get an action scene, the animation suddenly adopts the low frame rate cel-shaded visuals of Spider-Verse, which makes the fight scene stand out and pop off the screen. We know that shit is about to throw down whenever the style switches up like this. I was also frequently stunned by how inventive the direction gets. There's so many shots and angles in this film that scream pure cinema. It's all a work of art, the kind that rivals live-action landmarks. To conclude, Puss in Boots 2 is a breathtakingly imaginative film that upped the game for family animated movies with a powerful story of growth and self-care in a race against evil, competition, and fear. While the first Puss film was nothing more than the bare minimum of what you would expect from a Puss in Boots solo spin-off movie, The Last Wish surpassed our expectations and raised the stakes by giving us something more unpredictable, creative, and emotionally complex. No matter how much I hype it up though, you have to watch it yourselves to understand everyone's excitement. So what do you think of this film? Let everyone know in the comments below. As always, the next episode of Jambareeqi Orange will be decided by my patrons. The poll choices include The Little Mermaid 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Too Fast, Too Furious, White Men Can't Jump, The Magician's Elephant, and Shrek. That's a pretty awesome selection, am I right? Now don't forget that you have to be a patron to access this poll. What is a patron? Don't worry. Let me explain. This is my Patreon. It's a site for my fans to support me financially on through a monthly basis. Those who donate are called patrons. Patrons can donate as much as they want and are welcome to stop donating anytime. In return for their generosity, patrons are given exciting rewards based on their pledge amount. These rewards include early access to my videos before they go up publicly on YouTube, behind the scenes content, their name in the end credits of my videos, a chance to request a review of anything at all, and much more. I'm very excited to see what my patrons vote for next. Cheerio, folks.